Got a great big warning document in here. Interesting. So today at Speedy's Garage, we got a little care package from Mike at OSTDyno.com. Got a great big warning document in here. Interesting. Well, that should be a hint to what we're doing. And more on this in a minute. So basically what we have here is pretty much a factory Mopar computer for our Hellcat. However, from the factory, these computers are locked. They actually put, I believe it's a hardware device inside of them that basically locks out the ability to write to the computer unless you're at a dealership and have a dealership tool that connects into the dealership network and basically authenticates and says, yes, you have permission to write to this computer. Outside of that, it's encrypted and locked out. So I think what's happened is companies have gone in and found a way to actually remove that hardware device, and basically you end up getting a factory computer that is unlocked. So that's what this is. This is a, they say aftermarket, but you can see it's a Mopar part number. I think the difference is there's a technical company out there that just unlocks them for HPTuners and Diablo. Maybe HPTuners and Diablo are unlocking these computers themselves. I'm not 100% sure. Mine came from a different company, so I don't know how they're accomplishing that. They may be having that third party do it for them. But like I said, you have to have an unlocked computer with that device removed in order to put a tune on the car. And this is pertinent to 2015 and up Dodge vehicles at least. I don't know if Chevy and Ford are going to follow suit and start encrypting their PCMs, but Dodge started doing it in 2015. So I'm glad there's a workaround. And so the process is actually very easy. All I did was email Mike my VIN number and the current mileage on the car, and then the computer showed up a couple of days later. So you can see there it says it's a modified PCM for a 2016 Hellcat. That P682 number there, that is actually the calibration ID for the tune that's in the car from the factory. So this computer that showed up unlocked has my factory tune already located in it. So all I have to do is install it in the car and should be good to go from a factory tune perspective. And now it's unlocked so that when we want to change that tune, we have the ability to do so. All that done, we're ready to install the unlocked PCM. It does come with these instructions. Normally, I don't really pay much attention to that remove the negative battery terminal deal, but since we're messing with the factory or the car's brain, basically, I am going to disconnect that negative battery terminal for this procedure. The rest of it should be pretty easy. And that's just a 10mm bolt to loosen up the negative battery terminal. And then we'll just slide it off. So the rest of the work takes place under the hood, and you're looking for this panel on the passenger side firewall. And you just want to gently remove these plastic plugs or pins. There's one there, there's one in here. And then this panel will come out of the way. And there's the computer. And next is just the 13mm bolt that holds the computer bracket. Now that we've got the bracket loose, try to set a light where you can see. We got these two pretty good sized plugs to deal with down here, and it's like it. I'm probably gonna have to disconnect them and then remove the computer because they're in there pretty good. And then we've got the, I guess that's the hood switch that lets the car know the hood's shut. So we gotta unplug that, and it feels a little bit flimsy, so I'm gonna be careful there. I don't know that I can film all this, but I'll show you the end result. Okay, so it's a pretty tight fit. So what I've done, I'm gonna try to do anyways, I removed these two little 10mm nuts that hold the computer to the bracket to see if it will give me any more clearance to get this out of here. I feel like if I can get the bracket out of the way, maybe it'll give me a little bit extra room. So we're gonna try that. That way we don't have to mess with the switch. Okay, so I've tried a couple of different things, and this just isn't gonna come loose without severely scratching up this plastic here. I've laid a microfiber towel down to protect the paint, but it's sharp metal edges and there's just not enough room to actually release these plugs and slide them off the computer. So I think I'm gonna have to remove a little bit of this plastic balance to give me some clearance. So I'm gonna start by taking off the air cleaner cover. I think that'll probably give us enough room. that. And again, I guess you could just force this out, scratch everything up, but that's not how I do things, so. There we go. There's one plug. That made the second one a lot easier. So you can see there's a button on here that you push, and then that releases. It's on there pretty good. There's our factory computer out of the way. And here's the two computers side by side. And as you can tell, they are nearly identical. The only difference is a few of the numbers on the sticker. Now I'm going to swap over this little rubber bumper right here to our unlocked PCM. That's to protect the paint down in the fender. We're going to do that and we're going to reinstall it. Okay, you'll notice the plugs are two different colors. You got gray and you got tan. And the computer has gray and tan ports on it. So you want to make sure you match up the plug with the color of the port that it's actually connecting to. And I did end up completely removing the computer bracket. There's two little tabs on the hood latch switch. Just bend those out gently because it is pretty flimsy plastic, and then it will just unplug. Now we're just gonna reinstall that, plug this back in, and then get the computer bolted back down. And talk about a janky switch. I don't know if you can see in there, but that's just, to me that's janky. You can even see the resistor they just soldered in place in there. Very weird. My 09 didn't have this switch on it, so I'm not even sure what this is for, but the computer swap, or the computer maintenance on this was much more involved than it was on the 09 that I had. I've slid the computer back on the bracket. Now I'm just going to reinstall the two 10mm nuts that hold it in place, and I'll be very careful not to drop them because I'll never get them back probably. Okay, I've run the bracket bolt down hand tight. Now I'm going to tighten up the computer bolts. And finally tighten the bracket bolt. Now I'm going to put the valance back together, starting with the little foam piece that came out. Put our air filter door back on. And finally the computer cover. Don't forget the two push pins. And finally we're going to come in and reconnect our negative battery terminal. So that's the mechanical work done. Now we just need to fire the car up and make sure everything's happy. Okay, paperwork says we need to press the start button twice without pushing the brake. Let's see. There's run.
Across Middle Tennessee.
So far so good. Okay, then it says hit the start button so that it goes back to the off position, which I have done. And now it says press the start button again. Well, this says something about pushing the key again. It should be in the lock position. I don't recall ever seeing a lock on this, but maybe. We're gonna try to start it now and see what happens. So that's a good sign. We got throttle. That's good. We got a check engine light. We'll need to see what that is. It says on the paperwork that DTC codes for throttle are normal, but the throttle's reacting normal for me. So we're going to pull that code and see what it is just to confirm. We're going to say read DTCs. That one says lost communications with PCM. Okay. Let's see if we can clear it. Is it done reading? I think so. All right, we're going to fire the car back up and see if we still get a check engine light. So far so good. Throttle feels fine. That was one of the things that the paperwork said could be common as a dead throttle, and if you get that, there's a calibration sequence. So you push the throttle to the floor, start to try to start the car up. It won't actually start. That's like a diagnostic mode, and that resyncs the throttle. As you can see, no check engine light. Throttle's doing what it's supposed to do. I say we're good to go. So now that we have the unlocked PCM installed, I've reconnected the HPTuner module, and I'm going to go ahead and do a read of the unlocked PCM just to make sure it matches what the factory PCM had. Okay, now that we got that tune file downloaded and saved, I'm going to open the original out of the car. So now I've got that open, and the nice thing about this HPTuner software is I can do a compare. So I'm going to open another file, which is the one I just downloaded, Unlocked PCM Base, what I called it. I'm going to open that, and now it will show me the differences, and the easiest way to see it is go to View Comparison Log. And if it's blank or empty, that means there are no differences whatsoever between the two tune files. So that's exactly what we wanted to see. That means the tune in our unlocked PCM, or the CAL, is identical to the one that was in our factory PCM, and that's exactly what we wanted. So we're good to go. So that's what's involved in swapping out the factory PCM for an unlocked version. As you saw, not too big of a deal. Pay attention to the plastic clips up close to the windshield. You don't want to break anything there. And don't be ham-fisted about it and just yank the PCM out. You could do that, but you're going to gouge up all the plastic and potentially scratch all the paint there around the firewall. Use the microfiber towel like I showed you to protect the paint, and just pop that little plastic trim piece up to give you some extra clearance for those plugs. Do those things, you'll be good to go, and you'll be able to put the car back together without any damage. And so I'm probably going to get a custom tune for the car pretty quick. I want to see what we can do with just a tune. I've already ran 1050s in the car on the stock tune with the drive shaft and the tires and wheels for the track like I showed you. So I'm curious now, with just a tune, that being the only change, how much faster we can actually go. And obviously I have a performance target that I'm looking for the car. I competed in the NMCA Bluegrass Nationals back over the summer, and quite frankly, having to slow the car down to run in the 11.0 class kind of bothered me. I would much rather have been competing in the 10.0 class with the Demons. So that's probably the performance target I'm going to start off trying to get to, and then we'll kind of go from there. I might end up doing a pulley at some point, something of that nature to try to give the car a little bit more horsepower, but I'm going to start off with just tuning. I kind of want to do this in stages and find out, okay, tires and wheels and a drive shaft got me X. Now I've done a tune that got me Y, and then once I've maxed that out, figure out what the next phase is to get that little bit more. I hope you liked what you saw. Be sure to hit subscribe in the bottom right hand corner if you did. Also be sure to check out my website, www.speedysgarage.net, for some other project information, and I hope to see you out there.